JJ, this is game one of what will hopefully be a very long career for you, but what do you think he will remember most about this night?
Getting the win. That's what I'll remember most. Just being here in the hometown, it's a dream come true, and, to all the kids out there, it's possible. And, I just love my guys and can't wait to go to war next week.
He cannot wait to go to war next week because you know what? He'll probably win that war. J.J. McCarthy improves to 64-3 as a starter since his high school days as the Minnesota Vikings in the debut for the former first-round pick pull off a fairly stunning comeback at Soldier Field, breaking the hearts of all those Bears fans. We'll get into that. 27-24 the final. Minnesota puts up 21 points in the fourth quarter to steal this one from Chicago, a game in which, as good as McCarthy looked in the second half, he was every bit as lost in the first half. But you know what? Teams that are well coached can make adjustments, and young players with winning pedigrees sometimes find a way to win. Dan Hanzus here with Marc Sessler. Justin Graver on the ones and twos. Mark, I saw some texts during the game about you falling in love with another man. Was it McCarthy?
Okay.
I believe it was. I wanted to ask you live on the air. Yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And congratulations to him that my feelings feel this way.
We have to get this word to him. That there's a football podcaster
we'll need to let him know.
In his early-ish 50s that is hot on your trail.
It doesn't happen that much to me. It's like a lot of this just feels like it's just a waves of new players left and right.
Yes.
I am trying to remember a game where someone, or you could point to last night, I guess, if you want, but these are experienced quarterbacks in this situation, where like someone felt so asleep at the wheel, the whole offense did. And, when you were a kid and you'd go play soccer and then like a mom would bring oranges and you'd get orange slices at halftime, right? It might rejuvenate you. I don't know what happened at halftime here, but the J.J. McCarthy and the Kevin O'Connell experience completely changed in the second half. Because I was like, we've got problems here. And we were working on some projects and I was moving the Vikings up and down my power rankings thinking we've got real issues here in the NFC North. And then the second half occurs and all my feelings change. And I am easily won over by certain things. And I pulled this little book off my bookshelf by Kate Chopin, The Awakening. Not about football. It's about moms from Middle Britain from a long time ago. But The Awakening, that's what I saw tonight. Someone who just had an awakening this quickly into an NFL career. We don't know where it will go, but the second half was beautiful and brilliant, and I can understand why he was spoken so highly about.
Well, most of the second half, because it's with 12:51 in the third quarter when McCarthy drops back and tries to throw a little out that's picked off by Nahshon Wright and taken back 74 yards to the house. It makes it 17-6 at that point. And
right, not that part.
But everything from that point on, obviously the Vikings score 21 unanswered after that, and the Bears score a late touchdown to actually make this look like a close game again. But the Vikings had taken complete control of this game by about 4 minutes to go in the game. Yeah, the reason why I was higher and continued to be higher on the Vikings, although people are probably going to catch up now, than other people this summer, is because I knew that Kevin O'Connell is one of the best offensive coaches in the league, or maybe one of the best coaches in the league. And if he was so high on this young quarterback, how could the season go that poorly? And you look at where the odds makers had the Vikings, they had them taking a huge dip this year, and maybe they will. Again, week one lies. She's a harlot. Can't trust her. Where's my wallet? Where's my watch? It was on the nightstand. Now it's gone, and so is she. But at the same time, a player showing that level of moxie when the walls are closing in, it reminded me so much, and I tweeted about this, and there were some Vikings fans that were pissy with me, but I wasn't meaning it. I wasn't trolling. I was watching a primetime game in which a young, highly drafted quarterback was playing on a national stage, and it looked like the lights were too bright, and the game was moving 150 miles per hour on him, and the walls were closing in, and Troy Aikman is sounds like a disappointed dad talking about him. I'm like, this feels like even some of the wild dropbacks to try to evade pressure and just throwing the ball for grabs and taking vicious shots and all these things that J.J. McCarthy was dealing with in this game. It felt like I was watching Zach Wilson. It felt like I was watching Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. I felt like it was Geno Smith being not allowed to throw on Monday Night Football. It felt like Mark Sanchez in the dark times. It felt like a young quarterback who was overwhelmed by the moment, and that was going to be the storyline of the game. So it really did show me something for him to crawl out of that. But McCarthy, when you look at his stats, for instance, I mean, listen, he threw for 143 yards. So even with the strong second half, it's not like he had this amazing game. You got to give credit to the whole team. You got to give credit to the coaching staff for the adjustments, and you got to give credit to Brian Flores and that Minnesota defense, because as soon as the Chicago Bears, and this is what would be really frustrate me as a Bears fan. Bears fans are dying right now. What would really kill me is that Ben Johnson had his 15-play game script coming out of the tunnel to start this game, and Chicago looked like the Detroit Lions, and they went right down the field and stuck it down the throat of the Vikings, scored a touchdown, and as soon as they no longer had that script in front of them, they had to live in the moment. The offense completely cratered, and Brian Flores with his aggressive style of defense, this guy knows exactly what he's doing, and he shut down the Bears as a result.
Well, and we spent parts of last season too talking about the Vikings as a team that's organized in such an interesting and smart 2025 fashion, where your head coach is tied at the hip to the quarterback, and we can see the results of that already, and your defensive coordinator almost runs a completely different ecosystem. It's not that you want those two sides not to be friends. They are, but it's we've got almost two teams here in a way where it's Brian Flores should be a head coach. He should be a head coach. The Vikings are lucky that he's just their defensive coordinator and creating utter chaos for tonight, another young quarterback. And I thought Jordan Rodriguez, our friend, had an incredible comment. She tweeted this out. She said, "The thing I love about this Vikings defense is how it can be so immediate, all out pressure right away, or it can be like a slowly suffocating wave." Very Jordan-esque, and I love that about her, but it's she's super dialed in on, her and Flores, I feel would be great friends. And it's that's what you get with the Vikings. And it seemed like all of that was lost for 30 minutes, right? All of this had floated away. And then it came back to us.
Yeah, there was a crazy stat. I don't know if Gravy, if you know what it was. The Bears had something like 7 3-and-outs in a row at one point in this game, in the middle of this game, before they went on that last drive to get it to 24 points. It was just the defense disappeared. And what was shocking about it, and I tweeted this also at the end of the game, and it's not, I don't, again, as someone who supports a team that is eternally down in the dumps, Bears fans, they thought, and it's still a lot can happen. It's a long year, but you come into this week one game, it's just feeling so confident and feeling like you finally you have the right quarterback, you have the right roster, you have the right play caller and coach all in one. And what makes this Bears fan misery different than the other teams is the manner in which this team uses misdirection almost to maximize your hope, and then they pull the rug out or they pull the ball away, Lucy style. And what I mean by that is that building was going nuts. They go right down the field, and like I said, they look like the Detroit Lions with Ben Johnson, and then they have the pick six, and the roof is blown off the place, and the Vikings are completely in a blender. And for that game to just completely flip, and by the end of the game, after the last fateful they tried the doomed lateral play, and of course it was useless, and the game ends. There are 75,000 Bears fans booing at the top of their lungs their team off the field. It was such a turn of events. Here's Ben Johnson, his opening remarks at his press conference after the game. Now, you want to talk about guys that are probably feeling like they got hit by a truck.
Obviously, a disappointing way to start the season there for us. We just have a 17-6 lead and then see it go the way it did there in the fourth quarter. We said going into week one that the team that would make the least number of mistakes would win the game, and unfortunately we were on the wrong side of that. We made too many there late in the game, myself included.
I want to just make a correction here. This is what the Bears offense looked like in this game. First possession, 10 plays, 61 yards, touchdown. 5 plays, 17 yards, punt. 5 plays, 37 yards, turnover on downs. Bad pass by Caleb Williams. 3 plays, 2 yards, punt. 9 plays, 35 yards, field goal. Then after the first half ended into the second half, 3 and out. 5 plays, 23 yards, punt. 11 plays, 44 yards, missed field goal. 3 plays, -9 yards, punt. 5 plays, 8 yards, punt. 5 plays, 65 yards, touchdown. That was the final score when the game was already pretty much decided. So that the offense cratered. I thought Caleb Williams, Mark, missed a lot of throws in this game. And this is, again, to the stomach punch nature of Bears fandom. He couldn't have looked better. He was 10 for 10 at one point in this game, playing with all the confidence in the world. And by the third and fourth quarter, he looked just like the guy that was lost at times with terrible coaching last year in Chicago. So, the turn of events and the change in fortune of the Bears, it was dizzying this evening.
Well, it's well said, because he opens 10 for 10. And I don't really recall a Bears throng of fans, a crowd that were as loud and raucous as what we heard tonight. I mean, that can always just be the way that the microphones are faced too. But felt
they were
like
pumped up. That stadium was. Yeah. That was supposed to be a party, and it was like a party, and then someone pulls the fire alarm, and the whole thing gets shut down. That's what it felt like. It was a party that got interrupted.
It's the party where suddenly
in the worst
a girl
way possible.
throws up on the floor, and we've got the whole tenor changes. It's the thing about the Bears is I'm not, or a guy can do it too, but I'm not freaking out about the Bears, because this is a process, and I think Caleb Williams started to look, in terms of the accuracy and some wild throws and just feeling a little chaotic, there is evidence that the coaching staff has him playing differently. Early on, it looked good, but how does that become the entire game? I don't think Bears fans should freak out. I think, to your point though, this just was a house that suddenly a bomb dropped on it, at 2 a.m. when we thought that we were going to sleep well. And 2 nights in a row, we've seen sort of stunning turns of events where everything we want to say about the game completely changes. But I think Caleb Williams is just a project, and you've hired this coach to work through it, and it's not a one-night thing. It's not a one-night thing, because we're seeing evidence of the same stuff from a year ago. It's disappointing and concerning, but it is just we need to be patient, right?
Right. And that will be the messaging around the Bears and what they're going to try to put out there to the public, obviously, after this game. It's just disheartening. It was just the nature of the loss. It was, right. If they would have looked, if they would have been kind of meh from the start and kind of stumbled their way through things. And to your point, if Caleb Williams seemed like a guy who's still finding his way in this new offense that he's learning, that's one thing. But the fact that they came out, gangbusters the way they did, and then it turned and curdled. If you're a fan of a bad team, and I know you are, Mark, as am I, there is a sense of fatalism, but when these type of nights happen, and not to dwell on it any longer, it almost feels sometimes like you just why can't we just be like everybody else? How come we can't have our Jaden Daniels moment now where everything clicks and we have this great night, right? So the Bears have to wait. There could be great nights and great Sundays ahead of them this season, but this one did not go the way they wanted. Any other thoughts on this game, Mark?
Well, just that I kind of, along with not just J.J. McCarthy, kind of growing up quickly. And we'll see. It's 1 week, you're right. But I thought the offensive line helped him a lot better in this game. And when you support him with Jordan Mason and a ground game, and because there was a point in this game where it's is Justin Jefferson going to be complaining to the press in 3 weeks that this looks like it did over the first 30 minutes? And then it all changed. So it's like, I kind of think we've got a top 3 coach. We'll see who the quarterback is. You've got the best receiver in the league, arguably. And if you get the O-line in the ground game, like, this division is the juiciest division in football. And we've seen that supported by 2 games over the last 2 days, where it's like, there's no division like this. And the Vikings are back in the mix. We're 30 minutes into this game. I thought they might need a year to regrow what they think they are. And now I feel differently. So I like games that change the way I feel over the course of the game, just in one game. And this is 2 nights in a row with the Ravens
they kind of had
and
one
the
good
Bills
quarter.
in this, right?
That's just to temper it a little bit. They had one good quarter. It was a great
I know,
quarter.
but I was feeling like, oh my God, Vikings fans have to be peeing their pants right now. And then by the end, it's like, I don't know what we have. It's kind of exciting. So
right. And from by the same count, the Bears had 3 very good quarters and 1 miserable quarter. So, yeah, let's kind of put a hold on both of these teams with good things to take out of it and then some troubling things. Like, for instance, we can't have 12 penalties for 127 yards, Ben Johnson. So he's going to have a lot of work to do. And they got to wash this one out of their mouth because they get the Detroit Lions at Ford Field next week. So, these the way the schedule is set up, I say this all the time, but the games that you're, quote, supposed to win, and at home on Monday night in this environment, the idea was that the Bears would start their season off well and beat a Vikings team that's feeling their way out with J.J. McCarthy, and you saw in the pick 6, for instance, and good job overall from Dennis Allen in his debut as the DC in Chicago. But like the putting, dialing up that blitz and leading to the pick 6, like, you're supposed to beat a Vikings team that's supposed to take some time to figure things out. And now that you haven't, now you're staring at a Detroit Lions team that is going to be very pissed off after what happened to them at Lambeau Field in week 1. And on the other side, the Vikings get the Falcons at home. So, they steal one, and now they have a chance to get out to a 2-0 start. So big stuff. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to get caught up in all the news around the league after Sunday's action, and we're going to do our first check-in on the power rankings in the regular season. Stay right there. All right, we are back, Mark. How you doing, buddy? You got Levi on tonight. I love that. Monday Night Levi, always the best type of Levi.
I do. It's an evening in Hollywood. The room. This is a room that is facing a large window. So when the evening chills, I need to protect my skin and my exoskeleton with an extra layer of clothing.
That's definitely something an alien would say when he's asked about wearing a jacket. I mean, I'm just like, again, sometimes there are these little tells, Mark. Must protect epidermis. That's why I wear extra layering.
Well, it's true.
Relate?
I'm just
ha 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 ha.
trying to be truthful with you and the audience.
Yes. Anything else from the game that jumped out to you? The telecast, perhaps? I don't know if you checked out Manningcast or anything.
Yeah, because you're bouncing between. I like to bounce between. I love Troy Aikman, man. He's my dude. But like, I'll bounce over to the Manningcast a little bit because I think that it's a whole different vibe. Obviously, we get that. But I went over there at some point and got caught into a convo about the Pope Leo, I believe, like Pope Leo XIV. I don't know how.
Yeah, he's a Chicagoan. Chicagoan.
Yeah, so he's a big Bears fan. So like
American Pope.
they aim to get him on the show. I think we've got some tape here, but both Peyton and Eli attempted to get him on the show. Let's see what happened here. Eli Manning literally texted the Pope.
Eli has the Pope's number?
I don't know how. Well, yeah, I don't know who he's.
Wait, the Pope left Eli on red?
Yes. So
Hey,
Eli
Pope,
tried to get the Pope on the Manning cast. He left Eli Manning on red. Look at it.
That is awesome.
All of us. Right. It happens to us all.
Yeah, not to go down theology podcast road, but like, I'm cool mostly with the Pope. I was raised, Catholic, and like I'm cool overall with the Pope being American. I kind of like my Pope a little distant with a Dracula accent. Like, if I had my choice, if you gave me a choice, give me a guy from another some distant European nation.
Right.
But we're cool. Let's mix things up. It's the 2020s, man. But I don't want the Pope to respond to Eli Manning's texts. Like, I need the Pope to keep some of his splendor and mystery, and I almost don't like that the Pope got that text and he looked at his phone, because now we know that he's busy doing things. Why does the Pope have a phone? You know what I mean? He's the Pope. Doesn't he have powers? Isn't that the whole thing with the Pope?
I'd agree. Like, why would you need a phone?
Doesn't the Pope have a direct line to God?
Right.
Is that the whole thing with the Pope?
Sure, like 2 cups with a wire between them. I mean, I would say one thing, like, if you're Eli, and Eli seems to me like a very amiable fellow. If you text the Pope and he doesn't text you back, where does that leave you spiritually, or just as a person? That would be on my mind personally. Like, I'm texting a spiritual powerhouse, and he's like, I don't need you.
What was it that Joan Osborne once said? What if God was one of us, just a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home?
This Pope feels closer to being that than other popes. To your point about he's just simply from Chicago. It's like he probably just ordered
just
pizzas
a
a bunch
slob
of times.
like one of us. Crazy. All right. Anyway, I hope the Pope doesn't respond. And Eli is a good guy, but don't respond, Pope. Keep some of the mystery, okay? And develop. Maybe
he beat your
accent.
He beat your hated Patriots twice. Why don't we you don't want Eli to hear from a spiritual?
I agree. The
firebrand?
Pope did
Okay.
do that. Yes, God interfered and made sure the Patriots had some of the most crushing Super Bowl losses of all time, and that has kept me spiritual all these years. All right, let's see. Let's do some news.
Our team didn't quit. I mean, I think there's people that left the stadium. That's okay. We'll be fine, but have some faith next time.
Did you do it again, Justin? You look like you got like spindly fingers. You're athletic. You got big sausage fingers over there.
Okay, the buttons are like this big each, so it has nothing to do with the size of my fingers. It has everything to do with the fact that I am currently building our power rankings graphics so that when we get to the later part of the show, they're there. And How
does that explain the other incidents we've had in recent months? Were you building power rankings boards at that time as well?
There was something that could explain it. I don't know.
By the way, I know you mentioned, Mark, that Troy Aikman's your guy. I know you love Troy. I love Troy. Troy too.
Love Troy Aikman.
Do you drink his like MAGA beer he has?
I've never had his beer.
He sells that I Love America beer.
I've never had his beer, and I'm like moved away from.
Fits in with certain elements of your branding. That's all. I was wondering if
it does not. Well, Justin's probably pressing the wrong soundbite before because you were setting up that whole
He had his finger on that one.
I don't think he's MAGA, by the way.
Who, Troy? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, but I don't. Okay.
I mean, he lives
like 12 minutes from Justin, so what are we leaving?
I think people would be stunned by, and I'm not here out casting judgments on anyone, okay? It's a crazy time in this country. I'm just saying, I think it would be stunning for some people to realize how many professional athletes are in the red camp. And I think Troy is a native, what is he, Texan, Oklahoman, whatever he is?
He was like next door neighbors with like Pat Summerall back in the day, I believe, on a huge. I drove by his house one time when I was in Dallas. I'll leave it there. I don't need to go deeper into that story, but like.
Does it have something to do with the JFK assassination?
I did go to the book depository, but I was visiting family. But I was taken there because it was like, apparently this is important to this person. So.
What? Yes, Justin.
Headline in Athlon Sports: Troy Aikman hasn't been shy about where he stands politically. Quote: while those comments have inspired football fans to theorize that the former Dallas Cowboys quarterback is a Democrat, records show that Aikman has donated more than $40,000 to Republican causes since 1999.
Well, Dan, you nailed it.
Not necessarily MAGA, but
right-leaning. Got that
Hand
American
on the
beer.
pulse, Dan.
Let's get into the news. That was Josh Allen, by the way. Bills fans in the drop all those hours ago. You don't leave the building when your quarterback is Josh Allen. I mean, how we need to. And also, Bills fans, you showed up at that dump up there, that stadium that they're tearing down. You got there at like 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. At that point, just ride it out to the final gun. That's an important lesson, Mark, to fans of a truly special player like a Josh Allen.
It is. I knew a father and 2 sons where I grew up, and I had a lot of respect for them. He was a highly prized businessman, but at a function at their house, I learned as an adult, a young adult, that they had left the Mets-Red Sox game, the 86 Game 6 showdown early because they thought, let's just beat traffic. And I'm like, I still care about the 3 of you, but I will never see you the same way ever again.
Changes, yeah. Unless we forget, he'll try to make you forget it, and he'll use the power of prayer himself because he's a religious man. But Mark Wahlberg left 28-3 early, Mr. New England himself. So we don't do if your favorite team's quarterback is a Tom Brady or a Josh Allen or insert future Hall of Famer here, hold tight. Anything could happen. Anything can happen to the San Francisco 49ers, but not winning a Super Bowl if they keep on suffering injuries to their most important players. Now, usually these injury bug, if you get killed one year, these things have a way of evening out and the regression comes in a positive way, and maybe you don't have as a tough a season on that front. But coming out of Seattle's hard-fought 17-13 win over the Seahawks, they are dealing with 2 major injuries right now for the team. George Kittle, the star tight end, he left that game with a hamstring injury. And it sounds like a significant one because the idea is that he will be sitting out, according to Kyle Shanahan, quote, a few weeks because of the right hammy issue. And he missed most of that game. He scored a touchdown and then sat out most of the game. So, he has a chance to be out until October, it sounds like, which is, obviously not good news at all, especially given the state of the receiving core there right now. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, the starting quarterback, like I said, it was a very physical game. A lot of guys probably came out of that game banged up, and Purdy was one of them. He has 2 injuries, a left shoulder and a toe injury. The toe, according to Shanahan, who, by the way, that white beard is going to be growing real quick this season at this rate. The idea is that the toe injury is more serious than the shoulder injury, and it's unclear if Purdy will be available on Sunday in New Orleans. Shanahan said, we've got to see how it heals and how the week goes on it. So that is tough news for the Niners. Kendrick Bourne signed a 1-year deal with the team, up to $5 million to add some depth to that wide receiver room, which is Ricky Pearsall and a whole lot of not much else, Mark, currently.
Well, I can't really think of a team that I feel like every time we do a show, the Niners have signed a cast-off wide receiver from a different team. They feel thin, and we're right back where we started from with George Kittle out 3 to 5 weeks. That feels repetitive and redundant to other years. And my only with Brock Purdy, and I am pro Purdy, and he's a thick guy. He's kind of got like a Russell Wilson thickness to him, but not a big warrior, not the biggest in stature. You kind of wonder about the durability because we've had multiple injuries to both of these players. And then the Niners simply don't keep up with other teams because Shanahan's seasons that go off the rails are always injury related. So it's something to keep an eye on, of course. But it just tells us that the season's starting, that the teardown factor for so many of these squads begins now.
Juwan Jennings, by the way, wide receiver, injured his left shoulder in the game. The Niners are awaiting the results of a CT scan on that, although Shanahan said an MRI looked, quote, good, but they're not sure about his status. Also, left guard Ben Barge is day-to-day. He has a mild knee sprain. So just a walking mash unit coming out of that Week 1 win over the Seahawks, and at least they got the win.
San Francisco hospitals are overcrowded right now. They're just overcrowded.
Yes, just 49ers in full uniforms everywhere. I like to imagine these guys never change. They're just walking around cleats, clacking down hallways,
Correct.
Anyway, Giants sticking with Russell Wilson as their quarterback one for now. Brian Daboll confirmed on Monday that Wilson will continue to be the starter following questions from the media in the aftermath of a, unimpressive, call it that, 21-6 loss to the Commanders. Here's Daboll from Giants headquarters.
Again, like I said yesterday, that game just doesn't fall on Russell Wilson. You got to do a better job collectively, coaching, playing, but Russ will be the starter.
Oh, was that even ever really a decision for you?
Well, again, it's right at the end of the game, so I'm not going to say.
I mean, when you went back and watched it.
No, Russ will be the starter.
He will. Now the question is, how long will he be the starter? I would imagine if he fails against the Cowboys the way he failed against the Commanders, it's going to be a different story. In fact, I think the real thing, the stat that really jumped out to me, Mark, with Wilson was how poor he was under pressure. 2 for 12 for 26 yards, took 2 sacks, 2 scrambles. It's a team that had 231 yards of total offense. But Wilson's special set during his heyday was his ability to evade pressure and create plays, and he just can't do that anymore. He's just not the same player. And Giants fans are going to be increasingly frustrated if he remains the starter, I imagine.
They're missing Andrew Thomas, the star left tackle. I mean, it's like I want to see the line at its full strength. I love these reporters in New York that feel compelled, because it's 2 days in a row where Brian Daboll is getting the aggressive follow-up question to anything he says about Russell Wilson. But aren't we just weeks away from this switching? Isn't that just? It feels like we're just.
That's what I just said. I think
he's
he's out. I think he might even be out in the second half against the Cowboys. I think it's one of those
totally
deals.
Agree.
And let's see how it plays out. All right. In other news, the walls are closing in on Mike McDaniel 1 week into a season. A total no-show effort in a blowout loss to the Colts on Sunday. Here is Mike McDaniel, who's caught a lot of criticism, both for the team's lack of preparation and his own lack of fire in his post-game comments, at least from Jason Garrett. Again, when Jason Garrett is coming after you for not having any type of riz and juice, that's a bad sign. Here is McDaniel a day after the ugly loss.
What were some of the good things that you saw happen either individually or by unit yesterday?
I think to be honest, like there's I think the positive is that that was a miserable experience. It was embarrassing, flat out. And in that, there's nowhere to hide. It's almost, within the game, it's almost good that that it wasn't reachable, that we were -4, because there's, as a team, we have to, I was really looking forward to seeing the stuff that we've really worked on diligently, and I didn't see any of it, and that's a problem. So,
all right, I feel for McDaniel, and it makes me think, Mark, that because he knows what's happening here, the same reason we like McDaniel is that he's a little bit of an outsider. He's not cut from the same cloth as so many coaches that traditionally prowl the sidelines, the former players, the guys with the raging id and the hyper masculinity and all that stuff. Like, McDaniel is just a different dude. And the very things that he was celebrated for during his early time with the tenure, you could kind of already feel it now being used against him. And it's really kind of predictable and kind of disappointing, because the way football can be, which is kind of this boys club, and McDaniel even getting this job and speaking the way he does and approaching life the way he does, I think has always led to a certain segment of the football world looking at him with one eyebrow arched. Here's an example. Here's Rex Ryan. This is the son of a coaching legend, Buddy Ryan. Here's somebody who played, who's coached at many levels. and he's probably exactly the type of personality. And Mark, you got to know Rex a little bit. I'm not saying this is not an attack on Rex, but Rex is exactly the type of guy you would think would maybe turn this into a turkey shoot when things are going down badly for McDaniel. And sure enough, on one of ESPN's dopey morning shows, that's exactly what happened.
What the hell is he talking about? You know, maybe he's on a different level, McGenius guy, whatever the hell he is, nerd boy. But anyway, their team has no respect for the coach.
Can I just?
I think that's a drop, Justin.
You know what? Like Rex Ryan, I will say one thing. Because yes,
Nerd
I got to know him
boy.
on that European trip. He has one of the better senses of humor that you'll ever meet. Like he and I went to a German beer garden together, and like I would just say that we've got some connective tissue on things that we enjoy. I get why this is happening. It's just exactly what you said, because McDaniel is a think different type of guy, right? And it's like, it was kind of like the crescendo of NFL becoming analytical and different. And it's not just like a bunch of bros. Like we go to the combine and see a bunch of like coaches from the same team sitting around talking, and they all look the same. We understand where they sat in the lunchroom back in high school and middle school, but McDaniel comes from a completely different place. But when it doesn't work, or when it starts to not work, I think it's not only the other coaches and the Rex Ryans of the world and people in general, it's your own players. Like there's something going on with the Dolphins that we feel, right? Energy wise, like they're not, I don't want to say not tough, because that's just simply not true. But there's a part of the year when they seem to collapse, crumble, and they don't seem as physical. And then it's like we're pointing to a coach who looks a little bit like a math student, and he doesn't help himself sometimes with his wandering comments. I enjoy them, but it's like it's not Mike Vrabel. It's the opposite of like a Mike Vrabel. And so it's like he has to go on that journey to overturn all that. And when success stops and players stop playing the way they should, and you get your ass kicked by the Colts, a team we also didn't believe in, it can get dark really quick.
And for the record, McDaniel did play. He played college ball, right? He was a wide receiver. Is that correct, Justin? Once upon a time, it's not like this. He came out
does
of,
have
like,
a. It's not
MIT
that he was never an
or
athlete.
something, and
yeah,
right. But yes, he comes from a different angle, and it kind of has that whiff to me of Rex as like a bully on the campus, you know, getting his shots in on him
little bit
when he's down. And Rex should know better, because Rex has been down in the dumps too with two different teams and got fired twice. But it's not fun. Anyway, yes, Justin.
Mike McDaniel played wide receiver for Yale. Nerd boy.
All right,
Nerd
Justin.
boy.
See, now Justin's just jumping right on the train now. Like,
facetious
Right.
comment.
We are a
Yale.
pro Mike McDaniel podcast. That is
I met Mike McDaniel
on the record
at the combine. Tried to ask him how he would use his wide receivers, and he told me, "Oh, I'm not talking about that right now." And I was like, "You know what?" This was before he started. This is when he took over. I was like, "You know what, Mike? You're awesome. We're all rooting for you." And he goes, "Let's go!" And then walked away.
Dan and I
from me.
met him too, and
it was amazing.
like a literally delightful person to talk to. So
yes,
we are a
Can
pro
I ask a question, Justin?
McDaniel podcast.
Where did you ask Mike McDaniel how he was? It wasn't like at Prime 47 or something, was it? Like,
no, it was somewhere in Indy. I don't remember.
Was it just like in the street? You stopped him at like the.
I didn't
the
just
Shake Shack
stop
or
him
whatever?
in the
What's that
street. I think
burger
it was in a
place, or-
hotel. I think it was at the convention center. I don't remember now.
I'm saying because like if you stop,
Justin,
if you
that was
ask him
a
that
thrilling
question,
and detail-rich story.
yes, Justin, that was many
At the
bong
time,
rips ago.
I had just taken over as the producer of the NFL Fantasy Football podcast. I was trying to get some intel.
Right. But my question is, if you asked him within the confines of a media engagement, it's a perfectly fine thing. If you got him at the Starbucks in the hotel where Ian Rappaport squared off with what's his name, like to ask about, hey, how are you going to use your wide receivers? He's not going to give you the answer you're looking for when he's a civilian, essentially. You know what I mean?
I do, and I learned that, and that was like within my first few months of being an NFL media employee, and I grew from that experience. But
you know what? It was coming from a good place, and it always is with Justin Graver. All right, let's move on. Xavier Worthy, he got banged up in the Friday night opener in San Paulo. Andy Reid says, I know. Well, here's Andy Reid on the shoulder injury suffered by Xavier Worthy against the Chargers.
I know Xavier's the big question, and he's rehabbing and working his shoulder, and we'll just see where it goes day by day here.
Okay. In other injury news, Rams left guard Steve Avila and right guard Kevin Dotson both suffered ankle sprains and are considered week to week per head coach Sean McVay. LA's on the road the next 2 weeks at the Titans in week 2. There you go, Justin. There's a reason for hope. And at the Eagles in week 3. How about Jeffrey Simmons goes off in a big spot here against a compromised offensive line? Let's go, Gravy. Let's see. Saints. Bad news for the Saints. They have to replace a starting safety for the second time in 7 weeks. Safety Julian Blackman signed in July to replace the retired Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, likely done for the season with a shoulder injury, according to Kellen Moore. And that's it. Ellen Moore.
I don't think he'd appreciate that, or unless we're talking about her.
Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
She would appreciate it.
Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
Mark, give it a try.
Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
It's fun. The Falcons are trying out kickers after Younghoe Koo blew one against the Bucs on Sunday. The Jaguars made a trade, sending running back Tank Bigsby to the Eagles in exchange for 2026 5th and 6th round picks. Watch him be a monster for Howie Roseman.
That threw me. Did that surprise you guys at all? Like that trade kind of.
I didn't even blink. Personally,
okay,
but it's in the news rundown, so it's newsworthy. Why did it throw you? I'd love to know.
Well, I know Travis Etienne had a monster opening weekend. I guess it's just new regime, but like Tank Bigsby, good red zone player, good part of the offense, and then you just ship him off for whenever these draft picks are like worth nothing, that one surprised me early in the season. What did they know about him? I was like, what's he doing that they know about that the Eagles do not know about?
He was involved in trade rumors all offseason because they draft Bashal Tutin, I think, in the 4th round or something like mid-round running back pick. They really like the kid. They have Travis Etienne, obviously, and I think they're concerned about Tank Bigsby's pass protection, and so he's not going to be the early down back because that's Etienne. He's not going to be the passing down back because he can't pass protect. They have 3 good backs, and they figure, let's just move the guy. This is big fantasy football news for anyone who drafted and stashed Bashal Tutin, but I don't know how much it's going to affect the NFL season unless Saquon Barkley gets hurt.
Very well, very well. I don't know if we didn't get to this on Sunday night, but there was that incident after a Ravens touchdown where the team was celebrating. I think it was after Derrick Henry's second touchdown. Oh, no, it was after the Nuke Hopkins one-handed touchdown catch. And it looked like the Ravens were going to coast to a win. And some Bills fan smacked Nuke on the head, and then Lamar saw it, and then Lamar gave him a pretty stiff two-handed shove. I'm glad this didn't blow up into a big story, anti-Lamar story, because that would have felt a little predictable. You get your hands off the players. You don't own them, or just because they're close to you, get to smack them in the head. Well, bad news for that fan. He has been indefinitely banned from Bills and NFL stadiums per a team official. The fan had been ejected after that shove on Sunday night. So bad job by you. And good job by Connor Orr. This is what makes Connor great. Right after this happened, Connor did a deep dive into the civil liberties of that fan and what being a ticket holder entitles to in terms of protections. And according to Connor, at least I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but based on his interpretation, the fan had no protection or legal recourse for what Lamar Jackson did by pushing him. So maybe that's going to be an SI story coming out soon. Maybe not. But that was a little insight from Connor.
two quick items here. I think the banning matters because this is a youth who doesn't appear to have he's not individually wealthy. There's someone around him that has money, and he's in the front row of Buffalo Stadium. So you get the sense he would be going to many games, and he won't be now. But secondly, if this
You're saying he's a child of privilege?
I don't know. There's hints that he did not. I don't see him as like a factory worker that bought his own ticket. He looks like a youth. But like, if he had any plans of dating a woman in the Western New York region over the next couple of months, good luck with that. Because like
why do you think that would hurt his?
Because Lamar Jackson shoved him in, like you've been shoved into another dimension by like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he literally disappeared. He disappeared at the end of that. So I'm just saying it's not attractive, right?
I think you could spin that quite easily because he was showing his regional pride. He smacked DeAndre Hopkins in the helmet and then was talking his shit to the rest of the Ravens. And then Lamar Jackson, who's like this athletic freak. No one's expecting the boy to rise up against Lamar Jackson. So I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's the death sentence in terms of his dating life that you say it is, but agree to disagree.
I tend to think it is, but I'm willing to hear.
Yeah.
I'm willing to hear your point of view. I think when you watch these videos on like, Instagram and like there's a stadium fight and one guy's being mouthy and just gets punched out. It's like, that's not the guy that women are flocking to.
Yeah, but that's different. If it's two drunk buffoons in the stands and one wallops the other one and you get knocked the F out, okay, obviously it's going to affect potentially your dating habits if it goes viral. But squaring off with, Lamar Jackson, who's just a super athlete and like the ultimate male, I just don't think that has the same level of shame that you got a two-hand shove and you went backwards. I mean, what do we expect?
I don't know. We'll put a pin in it. We can pick it up another time.
Yeah, let's stick a pin in it. It's vital information. All right, that's what's happening in the news. Let's take a break and then we'll check in on power rankings. Stay right there. All right, we are back. All right, before we go, a little new Monday night tradition. I hope it's all right with everyone. People fear change, Sessler,
They do, and that's
just roll with it. Christ,
they do, and I embrace their fear, but I also do not embrace it.
What are you, Paul Zongas? What a politician!
Two mentions Zongas in a row.
Let's do some power rankings. As always, we'll do it in the quadrants, the 4 quadrants. These are power rankings, and we're going to update them every week. These are the official power rankings of record, as you should know by now. The HTC power rankings.
Hanzus, shout out.
Thank you, Paul Rudd. So let's go through it, starting with 1 through 8, and let's take a look at it. All right, number 1. Now is the Buffalo Bills, who obviously had that stirring comeback, up 3 spots from our preseason rankings that we put out last month. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm the only one out of Mark, Justin, and Connor that kept them at number 1. Now that is, again, as someone, I was the official power rankings writer and analyst for NFL media for 4 years. If you have the number 1 spot in the power rankings in August, you're the Super Bowl champion, and I don't like to remove you from that spot till you lose a game. So even if the Eagles didn't look great, I keep them at number 1 until they stop winning football games. Justin, to show the other side of it, have them at number 4 in his personal rankings. But overall, as we do like the mean or the mode or the aggregate or the average, they come out at number 2. Ravens at number 3 after that crushing loss. Packers at 4 after that big win. I thought the Packers would jump higher. Connor has them at number 5. That's surprising. Maybe
people are slowly catching up to the truth.
Yes, I mean that was a very impressive win, but maybe it was more. This is a pushback against the Detroit Lions, as you'll see, because we got Washington 5, Chargers 6, jumping 6 spots after the win over the Chiefs. The Chiefs dropping 5 spots to 7, and the Lions, Connor has them at 12, so there you go. That Connor, that's the reason why they dropped 5 spots. Let's go to the second tier. All right, second tier we have the Bucs 9, Rams 10, up 4 spots. Niners at 11. Broncos at 12, down 4 spots after an uninspiring win over Justin's Titans. After that Monday night comeback, the Vikings stay at 13. That's a little surprising to me. The Steelers up 3 spots to 14 after that shootout win over the Jets. The Bengals down 5 spots, win and drop 5 spots. That's wild, but they didn't look good against the Browns. Jags up 9 spots, the biggest rise we've seen so far here after their week 1 win. Who did they beat again? Who did the Jags beat?
The Panthers.
And we jump up 9 spots? What is everybody doing?
Well, there's some drug use involved, I think.
I had them at 25. Everybody at 15, 16, and Gravy has them 12? They beat the Panthers.
I think through 1 week, they were the best team in the AFC South, which isn't saying much. I get it. But I think they're going to be a frisky team. I think they're going to be a tier 2 playoff hopeful. That doesn't mean they make it, but hopeful.
I stand by 15, which was my vote as well. I don't think it's right in the middle of the league.
That's a little bit of a hold, and let's see what they got next. What they do next week. All right, to tier 3, a little bit of a hold on the Jacksonville Jaguars. All of a sudden, everybody's in on the Jags. Beat the Panthers. All right, we got the Colts at 17, up 10 spots. How about that? Gravy really buying in on these week 1 results. He had them all the way up to number 13 team in the league. The Texans at 18, down 3 spots. Seahawks 19, Falcons 20, Bears stay at the 21 spot. Raiders 22, only up 1 spot after I thought was a nice performance in week 1 against the Patriots. Cowboys, wow, what? What is happening with our power rankings? The Cowboys played really well on the road against the Eagles, and you have Mark has them at 25, Connor 23, Justin at 23. I have them at 16. How can the Eagles, where are the Eagles again on the power rankings?
They are number 2.
How could the Cowboys take the Eagles to the very end of that game and battle in that game the way they did and be number 23 in the rankings, down 7 spots? What's going on, Mark? Speak for the whole group. I'm about to defect from these power rankings.
3 of the cast members are of like mind. So I think it's future. It's kind of like
you're out of your mind is what you are. The Cowboys should at least be at the middle grouping of the NFL after 1 week. That performance.
I can see the floor falling out at some point. Like I just don't.
What are you talking about? Oh my God. You said on Thursday, Mark, the Cowboys, they really changed how I feel about them. What is it? And then you do the power rankings on Monday and they're 25?
Well, I had them lower before that. So they didn't.
Let us know in the comments if you're on Dan's side or the other side.
Sound off in the comments.
And number 2, I can only speak for myself when I say this, but to me, after 1 week, we still don't have a lot of information. And like basically every team from like 13 to 25 to me is like you could put them in any order and I wouldn't really disagree.
It's a mishmash, yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, that's why power rankings is an art. You can't just mail in 13 to 25.
I didn't mail it in.
I gotta work some proper villains on these power rankings. We got to go to school, everybody. All right, the Jets at 24. We're all in a similar church on that one. Gravy has them a little higher. All right, now let's look in the last tier right now. Very early, so we can't get too caught up in this. But we have Cardinals at 25, down 5 spots off of a win. Okay. We have the Patriots.
That's where I would point a finger at me and say, what are you doing? You've been pro Cardinals. They win and you drop them. So.
And you have them the lowest out of any of the 4 of us.
How is that possible, Mark?
It's a comeback story.
What has happened? Our power rank, we're the Miami Dolphins of power rankings in week 1. I mean, we got to be better. The Cardinals win and drop 5 spots.
The Saints
you have them 1 spot different than I do.
I know, but like I'm just saying, like I had them. I don't know where I had them originally, but like it's probably in a similar territory, I would guess. I don't know, like, so I'm not going crazy, but I don't know how they dropped 5 spots. That means you guys must have really cratered them.
I think other teams rose up. It's not that they were, you know what I mean? Like someone's got to take. I think other teams impressed us, and we changed. bottom feeders.
So here's
right?
what happened to the Cardinals. Last week, Mark had them at 17. Connor had them at 19. Dan, you and I had them at 21.
Okay. So Mark,
we dropped
explain
them down
this
a
one.
couple
hold on.
So you have
also,
the Cardinals at 17 before the season starts. They win their first game, and now they're 24.
in context, I have concerns about the overall journey with the quarterback, and they nipped the Saints. Like, had they, it just is kind of like, are they just going to go win 8 or 9 games again? 8 games. So I don't hate this, but I also think that these are a little, after week 1, it's like, to Justin's point, we're kind of waiting and seeing on a lot of these teams. So I don't have
Are we
a problem.
factoring in the Jay Glazer reporting that he had vicious shits? Kyler Murray?
He spoke to someone about that, and it sounds like he woke up at 4 a.m, like, with the
Do you have
lower
that tweet,
half
Justin?
of his body
This
on
man,
fire.
I don't have. I mean, I can play this.
This man, Kyler Murray, the quarterback of the Cardinals, wakes up, and this is something Zuzzer, he factored into his power rankings. The man woke up with explosive diarrhea, and he had to play quarterback in the NFL hours later. He pumped himself full of Imodium, AD or whatever, and gutted his way through that game. Just completely
to be
hollowed
fair,
out.
you put them at 23. I put them at 24. I don't see a vast chasm between.
I
our
can guarantee I didn't
assessment
have
here.
him at 17 before the season started. That's all I'm saying.
21.
Maybe I did.
Dan.
Justin, I had him at 21. Okay. All right.
You want to hear this Kyler Murray FaceTime call with FaZe?
Who's FaZe?
I don't know. Probably like a streamer or
Please
a Call of
help,
Duty
Father.
player or
He
something.
doesn't understand. Yeah, let's hear it. What's happening?
No,
with
well, y'all
Kyler
got the
Murray?
dub, though. Y'all say what's up. Hey, Chad, say what's up to K1. I'm live right now, bro.
Tell the chat I said what's good.
Chad, you heard that? Hey, good dub, though, bro.
What is
Damn, wait, so
happening?
you woke up on 4:30 and we're just f***ed up all morning?
I woke up at 4:30, bro. I was like, I knew some shit wasn't right. Immediately to the toilet.
Damn. It was like that?
Tough.
That is ass.
This is like the new Adam Schefter.
I had to take like some Imodium to keep to keep my stomach from, with me. But it was all good though. You know what I'm saying? We got the dub. It was a little sloppy though, bro. Did you watch?
Nah, I was
sloppy,
locked in
right.
the whole
All right,
game.
I'm
watched
good.
the
I don't
whole
need to
game,
hear
bro.
this
That
story
ball-
anymore.
It was like Marcus Aurelius speaking to Tesla on the phone.
It felt like I was listening to the modern version of Walter Cronkite. It was just like, this is journalism. Let's see. The Giants 27, up 2 spots. Hey, why not? Move them up 2 spots after that incredible performance against the Commanders. What is happening here? The Browns up 4 spots, almost beating the Bengals. Okay, that makes sense. That checks out logically. The Saints.
Actually, wait, before you continue, Dan, why do you have the Browns at 32? Is that a bit? Or is that really how you feel?
Yeah, what are you doing? Let's point the light and the spotlight on you for a minute.
Like, their defense feels at least...
They give up 7 yards to your precious Joe Burrow in the second half, and you
fair.
got them at 32.
That's fair. I should have them at 29. You're right. I should have bumped them a little bit.
Talk about
that's
mailing
very
it
fair.
in.
The Saints at 30 at 29. The Titans stay at 30. The Panthers down 6 spots to 31. And there they are. The Miami Dolphins, tough first week, dropped 10 spots to 32. So there are the power rankings. All right, there you go, Mark. That is the end of the Monday show. We hope everyone enjoyed it. I'm very happy that we have these power rankings, this accountability around the power rankings now. I feel like my eyes have been opened, and it's going to be a fun thing to track on Monday evenings with my buddy Mark.
I generally am not attracted to accountability in various forms of life, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm also open-minded, and I'm open to see the path ahead, Dan.
Very nice. Very nice. We all should aspire to be that way. This is free content. We hope you enjoy the free content. And if you don't, just pipe down, But there's also non-free content, also known as paid content, over on patreon.com. If you want more from from the heroes, and we have some fun stuff coming out. We have the latest edition of It Came from the subreddit, detailing the fan experience of this show and the discussions around this show. So that will be going up shortly. As I understand it, we also have it's going to roll out later this week. Bob and I's review of Oasis in America, which has been fantastically exciting to experience if you're a fan of that particular British guitar band. And then next week, the return of Rolling Thunder, and of course the HTC draft every Friday on the Patreon. So check that out. A lot of good stuff over on the Patreon side of things, and a lot of good stuff happening right here. Everybody, thank you. You'll hear from us again on Wednesday with Connor Orr. Until then, do what you must.